Disclaimer. None of the songs, including intro, artworks, including thumbnail, or characters in the video are mine. This is not an accurate portrayal of the characters. This is not a defamation of character either. This is only for entertainment. Warning. Foul language, grammatical mistakes, typographical errors. Atsumu just finished washing off all the grime he gained from today's training. He went out of the building and saw his teammates outside just standing. He hesitated by the door for a moment before steeling himself and continued walking, ignoring all of them. Hey Atsumu. Atsumu stopped and looked back. Coach gave us permission to go out and explore the city. Wanna come with? Atsumu frowned. They want to hang out with me. Why? He was suspicious of their intents, and maybe just a little bit hopeful. He misses them. And sure, maybe the ones he was really close to were his senpais. Eren was his childhood friend. Kita was always so caring. Omimi was a silent support, and Akagi always believed in him. And while to him, the others were his friends, he wasn't theirs. Suna always favored Osamu because of course he did. He's in love with him after all. And if Atsumu, for some time, thought of Suna as his best friend, well, you can't always get what you want. Besides, he has core now, and he wouldn't give him up for the world. Jinjima was like Omimi in that he was almost always silent, except for when it comes to insulting Atsumu. Atsumu laughed bitterly at that. He really liked Jinjima, because even if he prefers silence, he always seemed to be listening, so Atsumu knows that when he starts babbling, at least there's one person who's listening. Or two, because he was sure that even Osamu listens to him even if he's trying to ignore him. And that thought brings him to Osamu, his twin. That's a topic that Atsumu can't talk about. He can't. It hurts too much. So yes, Atsumu feels hopeful, if not confused and suspicious. They were trying to please him, to include him, as if inviting him to be their friend. But that's not possible. They made it clear they don't want me as a friend, that they don't want me at all. So with a strained smile and a heavy heart, Atsumu shook his head. Sorry, I can't. My friends and I had plans. Atsumu looked to Osamu to see his reaction. Nothing. He wasn't even looking at him. Atsumu laughed bitterly as he turned around, trying to shake off the tears that slowly forming. The others looked at him in regret, their fists clenched at their sides. But we're your friends, they wanted to tell him. I wish I was your friend. He wanted to tell them, but none made it past any mouths. Neither was made known, and both parties continued hurting. As he made his way to where the Shutoku team is staying, Atsumu couldn't help but fidget with his phone, wondering if he made the right choice. It's not like he can stop hope from blooming in his chest. He still loves them after all. Should he have accepted his teammates' offer? Maybe it's an opportunity to fix things with them. But, do I want to fix things? Or what would fixing mean anyway? Would he actually be a part of the group now? Not just the annoying twin brother of Osamu that everybody tolerates because Osamu is their friend? Atsumu scoffed. Right. Tolerated. It was fucking obvious how much they all hated me. I'm just the desperate idiot who still tried to stay with them because nobody liked me. He remembered again. Their words, accompanied with loud laughter, yet cutting, meant to hurt. And it did. It did hurt. It hurt a lot. Atsumu clutched his phone tighter as he wiped away his tears before they completely dropped. He shook himself out of the pit of sadness he's digging himself into before he pocketed his phone. He tilted his head up and blinked repeatedly to try to stop the rest of his tears from falling. He smiled widely, fake, trying to trick himself that he's happy. Confident that no one would notice, he hurried his steps towards his destination. His smile lessened, turned real, turned soft when he saw the Shutoku's cabin and the tall figure in front of it with a very distinct green hair. Their eyes met, and before Midorima could utter a greeting, Atsumu was already running towards him. He wrapped himself tightly around Midorima as he buried his face into the taller male's neck, inhaling the other's familiar scent, then finally relaxing. Midorima, to his credit, didn't outwardly show his surprise besides a slight widening of his eyes before he engulfed Atsumu in a tight embrace. Atsumu smiled as he tightened the hug. Midorima always made him feel better, made him feel safe. He honestly kind of feels guilty because he's always comforting Atsumu. Wait, this is okay, right? Oh my god, am I making him uncomfortable? I never saw him be touchy with anyone else. What if I'm forcing him to do this? Midorima, feeling Atsumu's distress in the way his body stiffened, moved slightly away to see Atsumu's face. Atsumu-san, what's wrong? Atsumu swallowed the bile that was slowly crawling to his mouth with the realization that he might be making Midorima uncomfortable. Is this okay? Midorima's eyebrows scrunched together, confused as to what Atsumu was referring to. Before he could ask, Atsumu started talking. I'm not making you uncomfortable, right? Am I forcing you to do this? It's just that I never saw others really touch you, not even Takao, and here I am doing it, and I was just wondering if you're forcing yourself to comfort me. You know you can tell me if this is not okay, right? You can tell me, no, I'll understand. Atsumu's voice started low, weak, then it slowly increased in volume and speed. Panicked. Atsumu-san. Midorima interrupted Atsumu, his hands landing on Atsumu's face. Atsumu stopped at the sudden warmth on his face. Midorima tilted Atsumu's head using his hands, then used his thumbs to gently wipe the tears from Atsumu's eyes. If this was any other time, he might have cooed or blushed at how adorable it is that his hands are bigger than Atsumu's face. Atsumu-san, he repeated again when Atsumu's eyes were cleared of tears and he could finally see Midorima clearly. You are not making me uncomfortable. You never have. And you're not forcing me to do anything. You can always come to me for comfort, and I will always happily give it to you. Midorima smiled as he brushed a stray hair out of Atsumu's face before putting it back on Atsumu's cheek. I love you after all. Realizing what came out of his mouth, both of them flushed as Midorima jumped away from Atsumu. I mean as a friend of course. Midorima looked everywhere but Atsumu, still trying to explain what he said with stuttered words. Atsumu on the other hand is stuck unbreathing while staring at Midorima with a flushed face. Atsumu started, a little bit loud, and Midorima flinched, expecting the worst. Atsumu just stepped forward and embraced Midorima once more, hiding his face on the other's chest, desperate to ignore the beating of his heart, so loud and so hard it almost hurt. I love you too. And Midorima's heart hurt. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, did you hear that? Takao screeched like teenage girl whose crush just borrowed a pencil from her, all the while jumping up and down and fanning himself with his hands. They said I love yous to each other. Yes, Takao, we all heard it. The Shutoku team was all about to go out of the door when they saw Midorima and Atsumu hugging each other, and as members of the Mido Atsu fan club, they all hid behind the door and watched. As soon as they heard his magic words, they crowded together and gossiped like mothers who are watching their barely able to get up children laugh with each other and talk about how cute their babies are together. They are so cute and sweet. Why can't they just kiss already? Because, you idiot, Atsumu-san is still in love with his douche of an ex, and Midorima is too much of a tsundere to even realize his own feelings. Ugh. Why is this more stressing and exciting than basketball? The others all piped up their agreements. Okay guys, this isn't working. We need to at least make them realize they like each other, or at least make Midorima realize. Does Atsumu-san even like him? Caution-chan. No wait. He must at least like him. At least a tiny crush. It's obvious. Okay, we can work with that. What's the plan, Captain? We cancel our plans so that instead of us going out as a group, it would just be them going out on a date. But then they would ask why we're canceling. We can just say that we're too exhausted from training. That might work. Okay, let's go and change. Before they can take a step, Atsumu and Midorima are already inside the building, making all of them stiffen and curse internally. Oh, you're all ready. Great. Let's go. They all nervously eyed each other, then all at once, they groaned in pain. Some clutching their head, some clutching their stomachs, and one dropped to the floor and cradled their legs. Guys, are you okay? Do we look like we're okay? They all snapped at Midorima since the tone he used was blank and unimpressed, as if knowing they're just faking. In response to their exclamation, Midorima just raised an eyebrow since they all suddenly forgot their pains. Once again, as if rehearsed, they all groaned in pain. Midorima just rolled his eyes and they all wanted to throw pineapples at him. Atsumu, confused yet concerned since he's not sure if they're faking or not, asked them in a nicer tone if they're okay. My head hurts. Mine too. My stomach hurts. Same. My legs hurt. Sorry Atsumu, I don't think we can come to this outing. Oh that's fine. We can all just go tomorrow and a resounding no came from all of them. We mean, we don't want to ruin tonight so it's better if you and Midorima just go by yourselves. Are you sure? Yup. Go ahead. We'll be fine. We're all exhausted from training anyway. How did this even happen? Midorima asked, narrowing his eyes at them. It's Yuja's fault. What? I mean, yup. It's my fault. Totally mine. Yeah. Yuja gave us painkillers but they were expired. What? Oh my god, should we take you to the hospital? No, don't worry about us Atsumu-san. It's just one anyway. We'll be fine tomorrow. How did this even happen? Captain and Kimura-san brings their own painkillers since you guys only want a specific brand. The others gritted their teeth in irritation. Shin-chan please. We're trying to help your love life. Just leave. They were gummies. Gummies? Yeah. Fruit flavored painkiller gummies. Nice save. Oh, there are painkillers like that? I thought those were only vitamins. Where did you buy them? L just found it lying around the house. They were there for a long time I guess since they are expired now. Yeah, they probably don't even exist anymore. Oh. Can I have some? Atsumu-san they are expired. But Ruru. Atsumu whined. Gummies. We'll just buy them later. I'm sure there are a lot of gummies out there. Fine. Are you guys really okay? Yup. We'll be fine Atsumu babe don't worry. Okay. Midorima helped Atsumu up and they both finally left. Oh thank fucking god. Midorima better thank us for this. So where we go? What we do? As it's already night time, most of the tourist attractions in Kyoto are already closed so they have nowhere they really want to go to. Not to mention the fact that there's that lingering shyness again. More noticeable now after what happened earlier. So Midorima just shrugged. Explore? Atsumu nodded then started pulling Midorima to whatever store or booth they find interesting. Whether it be a shoe store where they just picked up shoes, say it's pretty then get out. Or even a grocery store where Atsumu picked up some snacks. For him. For his friends. Or for Osamu. He doesn't know. They were planning to go to karaoke but since it's only two of them, they didn't think it would be as fun. Midorima looked at where Atsumu is pointing. Arcade? Atsumu smirked at him I bet I can beat you at basketball. Midorima narrowed his eyes at the blonde then smirked at him in return. You can try. It was Atsumu's turn to narrow his eyes at him. Oh it's on. Midorima knows Atsumu is competitive and he's not planning to offend him by going easy on him. Even if he loves him. As a friend of course. Midorima gaped at their scores while Atsumu smiled at him smugly. Tie. Their scores were tied. Oh come on Rue. Don't be so surprised. I'm a setter. We're supposed to have good aim. Midorima fixed his glasses. One more time. Atsumu threw his head back and laughed. Incredibly happy to see Midorima's competitive side. Even if it's not an actual game of basketball, it was a bit of a hit on Midorima's pride since Atsumu doesn't even play actual basketball. But, most of all, he's excited. He wants to see how good a setter's aim is supposed to be. The next battle, Midorima won. And it was his turn to smile smugly. One more time. The next game went differently because Atsumu started accidentally bumping into Midorima to mess up his shots. Midorima laughed at him. That's cheating Atsumu-san. It's not cheating Rue. It's winning. Atsumu winked at him. Midorima huffed at him before he smiled. Small and amused which made Atsumu's narrow at him in suspicion before taking a slight step back when Midorima took a step forward. Rue? Midorima's smile widened before he carried Atsumu by the waist and deposited him away from the basketball machine. Ruru. Atsumu shrieked in surprise while Midorima just chuckled deeply. Atsumu hasn't even processed what happened when Midorima already started shooting. Rue, that's cheating. It's not cheating Atsumu-san. It's winning. In the end, they got scolded by a guard because they got too messy. They purposefully bumped into each other, stole the other's balls, going as far as to even shake the machine. Oh my god Rue. Did you see his face? Ha 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 ha, I thought he was going to call my parents. That was your fault Atsumu-san. You started it. Rude. Before Midorima could respond, Atsumu was already pulling him into another booth. A photo booth. The photos that came out were nothing more than blurry figures because they were both too busy laughing with each other to pose properly. but the photos still somehow showed how happy the people were in it. We should do this properly next time. With Kevin. We should. Midorima said, circling an arm around Atsumu's waist as he leaned his chin on Atsumu's shoulder as they laughed at the photos they took. Atsumu leaned back on Midorima, enjoying the warmth provided by the taller male. But first, he looked up at Midorima with a smile before booping him on the nose. Gummies. I keep telling you, Ruru, I'm older than you. Midorima huffed, then looked away with a pout which made Atsumu laugh at him. They're arguing because Midorima wants to walk Atsumu back to the Inarizuki cabin, but Atsumu said that he wants to take Midorima back to the Shutoku cabin since he's older. Well, I'm taller than you. That doesn't mean anything. It does. It means I can see farther than you. He looked proud with his argument, trying to ignore the fact that it was ridiculous. Atsumu gave him an unimpressed look. Ru, I have better eyesight than you. Midorima glared at that, knowing that Atsumu's right. Atsumu just looked at him in amusement. Please? Atsumu laughed at him again before he took Midorima's hand in his and intertwined them together as he pulled the taller male. Come on. Midorima smiled, triumphant. They talked all the way, which distracted Midorima, so he didn't notice that they were going to the Shutoku cabin rather than the Inarizuki. Atsumu-san. What? Atsumu replied innocently, but his wide and mischievous smile betrayed him. You cheated. I didn't cheat. Atsumu's smile grew even wider. I won. What? You're not going in? Midorima glared at Atsumu harder. You tricked me. Atsumu bit his lip to stifle his laughter. Midorima glared at him again before he sighed and his eyes softened. Is there any reason why you don't want to go back to your cabin? Atsumu's heart fell along with his mouth. How did you? Atsumu-san, you don't really think I forgot that you were crying earlier, right? Atsumu nibbled on his lower lip. This time out of anxiousness, Midorima sighed before embracing Atsumu again. It's fine. You don't have to tell me. I just want you to be okay. I am okay. Atsumu mumbled into Midorima's chest. As long as you're here, I'm okay. Fine. Let's go then. Atsumu titled his head in confusion. Where? Stargazing? Is there any reason you don't want to go inside your cabin? They're annoying. Atsumu laughed. Plus, I wanted to keep you a company. I'll be here for as long as you need me. There was still that lingering fear in Atsumu that thinks he's bothering Midorima, that sooner or later, the greenette would hate him as well. But he can't deny the amount of relief that he felt with those words. It sounded like a promise, and although promises are broken a lot, he trusts Midorima to keep his, to always be there with Atsumu, even if not for him. Because Atsumu doesn't think he can take losing Midorima anymore. Thank you. Midorima smiled softly at him. I take gummies as payment. Atsumu gasped as he held an entire gallon of gummies to his chest, a suspicious glare directed at Midorima. Midorima just laughed. Atsumu-san, what's wrong? Atsumu was nibbling his lips in worry as he fidgeted with his phone. Was not answering. After they established that Midorima has no plans to steal Atsumu's gummies, they found a bench to sit on where they can see the sky clearly. There, Midorima introduced Atsumu to the constellations as well as their stories, while Atsumu used that time to find what Midorima's talking about, because all he see are dots. Pretty dots, but dots nonetheless. How people somehow found patterns in them, he doesn't know. I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid. What changed? I fell in love with basketball. But if you didn't, would you still want to be one? Midorima shrugged. I think I'll follow Dad's footsteps. Really? The human body is fascinating too, and I also realized that being an astronaut means leaving Earth and everything I love. And maybe that was fine with me a few months ago. But now I've found something worth staying for. Atsumu was struck speechless at the emotion in Midorima's voice as well as the intensity in his eyes as he looked at Atsumu. There was something there. Atsumu realized. There was something in Midorima's gaze that made Atsumu feel like he's listening to a siren song. Dangerous. Utterly dangerous. And yet, he can't help but want more. Confused, Atsumu looked away, his throat dry. He fiddled with his phone, trying to distract himself from the atmosphere that's heavy with something he can't identify. Which is when he remembered the time and that he hasn't called Oikawa to check up on him and the kids yet. So he called Oikawa, but he didn't answer. He called him again, and still no answer. When the fifth call went unanswered, Atsumu was starting to worry, which Midorima noticed. Maybe he's asleep? Atsumu shook his head. Koa sleeps at midnight, and even if he's already sleeping, he's a light sleeper. He would have noticed his phone ringing even if it's only in vibrate. Atsumu was still nibbling on his lips, his foot tapping on the floor and his hand was playing with Midorima's. He's really not answering. What if something happened to him? What if a burglar entered the house? Koa's alone with the kids. And even if Kevin's literal lava, he's still a kid. And Tiger is tough but he's just a kitten. Don't think the worst, okay? I'll start calling Kagami to see if he knows something. Then I'll contact Morisa since he's closest to him. Can you call your parents? No. Mom and dad went on a vacation, which is why Koa leaves Kevin and Tiger with Granny. But Granny doesn't have a phone. Eren, Akaji and Jinjima are all in Tokyo, so I can't call them either. The closest to him I know is also Bokken and he's in Osaka, plus he's also probably exhausted from training since he's a pro now, so I don't want to disturb him. It's 10 PM now, Rue. The trains don't operate anymore. The earliest someone could probably go there is tomorrow. What if it's too late then? What if he's dead? Atsumu-san. Breathe. Midorima held Atsumu's face between his hands, trying to make Atsumu focus on him rather than worked himself into a panic. Breath. Atsumu-san. It's going to be alright. Ikoa-san's fine. He's fine. I'll call Kagami and ask him, okay? For now, I'll take you back to your cabin so you can rest. We'll go check on him tomorrow, okay? Ikoa-san is strong. Atsumu whimpered. Not strong enough. He tried to jump Rue. I don't want to leave him alone with only the kids to distract him. The main reason why Atsumu calls Ikoa now when he didn't before is because he doesn't want Ikoa to be alone. When Ikoa was with Kagami, he wasn't alone. And Atsumu always calling to check on him would just remind Ikoa of all the bad things that happened. Now Ikoa is alone. The kids might be there but they won't really understand what's happening. They won't understand what can happen. Ikoa would be alone with only his mind as his company. And right now, that's his greatest enemy. They might act normal now, happy even. But that doesn't erase the past. And it certainly doesn't erase the hurt. It's just there, waiting for a chance to appear, to remind, to consume. Ikoa tried to jump. And Atsumu doesn't want to know what kind of thoughts filled his best friend's mind then. What kind of emotions he was feeling. Or if he was thinking and feeling at all. Even Midorima's blood ran cold at the reminder. Cursing internally. Trust him, Atsumu-san. Trust him to be strong enough. Midorima said as he pulled Atsumu into a tight embrace. He shouldn't have to be. He shouldn't have to be strong. He should be happy. But everybody's so intent on beating him down. Well, that's why you're here, right? That's why we're here. Ikoa-san's our friend too. We're not going to let anything bad happen to him. So you should go to bed early so we can check on him early tomorrow. For now, I'll call Kagami and ask him. Atsumu nodded. You'll tell me if something's wrong, right? Of course. Come on. I'll take you back to your cabin. Atsumu sniffled as he wiped away his tears. I was supposed to walk you to your cabin. Cheater. Despite the situation, Midorima smiled, then pressed a small kiss on the top of Atsumu's head, also trying to relax himself. Not a cheater, a winner.